YouTube, what's going on? Behind every gangster story, behind every gangster that we talk about on this channel, there's at least a message or a lesson at the end of the story. Now, Shorty Pop, he came up in the heart of DC, where the streets didn't play, and respect was bought in blood during DC's most dangerous time. From the jump, he stayed strapped. He was in the streets. He moved smart. He was sticking and moving. He was carving a reputation in the city that eats the weak. By the time most kids were dreaming about sports or music, Shorty Pop was already living by the code: survival, loyalty, and dominance. In those streets during the time, there were no rules, no fairness, no guarantees. It's still like that now, but a coward could kill you and get praised for it. Timing and opportunity often matter more than courage or skill. Once you pick up a gun, your life is no longer just yours. Every step you take, every place you go, someone is watching, plotting, calculating. Now that's life. That's the life he chose, and he carried it hard, never backing down. But Shorty Pop wasn't just a street soldier. He was a kid with talent, with a passion that went beyond the block. See, before he fully committed to the streets, he was a part of the Junkyard Band, signed to Def Jam, performing and creating music with energy of someone who wanted to make it out. See, he wasn't the only one, a part of the Junkyard Band that was in the streets and that was making moves in the streets. You had some other members. See, music was his first piece, a moment where he can escape the chaos and feel alive without fear. Playing beats, we saw him perform on stage, even just vibing to the rhythm. This was where he could finally breathe, even if it was for a little while. The city could be ruthless, but on stage, Shorty Pop controlled his world. See, he also loved skating. That became a second piece. The skating rink wasn't just a hobby. It was a sanctuary where he laced up and rolled across the floor. The weight from the streets just lifted off his shoulders. It was only temporary. Now, for those brief minutes, he could finally feel alive, feel free, finally feel like a normal kid. Just imagine you living like a kid, but you had to stop it. You only had minutes of fun because you had to keep your head on a swivel, because you had people in the streets trying to kill you. That's the life he was living at the age of 15, 16. Just imagine. Now, at the time of his death, Shorty Pop was going to war with some serious people. He was deep in the middle of a violent conflict, a war of rivals who wouldn't stop until they'd taken what they wanted. Every move he made was being watched, every step calculated, every corner could be a threat. In the streets, there's no timeouts, no pauses, no guarantees. Danger is constant. Even for a man as skilled and feared as Shorty Pop, he was a great shooter. Being in the middle of a war meant every day was a high-stakes gamble. And yet, he still sought his moments of peace, skating, music, laughing, because even warriors need something to hold on to when life is chaos. One day, he was caught in a parking lot outside the skating rink, a place where you might have thought it was safe. It was, other kids there. It was a fun vibe. His enemies came fully prepared. Come on now, an AK-47, emptying an entire clip on him. This wasn't a warning. It wasn't an accident. It was a calculated hit, a deadly statement to the rest of the streets. You live by the gun, you die by the gun. See, that parking lot, which could have been his sanctuary for just a few minutes, became a battlefield in seconds. The fleeting peace of skating turned into a trap from which there was no escape. And the streets, even the one place you think is safe, could become the stage for your last moment. Shorty Pop life is full of contradictions. He smiled after taking lives, a reflection of the street logic he had internalized. Survival and respect sometimes demanded violence. In those moments, pride replaced remorse. Yet despite the fear and respect he commanded. See, the streets never let him see any real money or build a life outside the endless cycle of retaliation and loss. He probably would have been better off with a 9-to-5, making something that could have lasted beyond borrowed moments of power and fleeting respect. And that goes for a lot of dudes. When you see how young these dudes died, and knowing that they didn't see any real paper, they might as well just went to a 9 to 5. But the streets didn't give him that chance. He didn't live long enough to see a future beyond a fight. The truth of DC streets is simple. There are no rules. Cowards can kill you and get praised for it. Time often matters more than courage. Loyalty is temporary. Life is fragile. See, I'm pretty sure Shorty Pop understood this better than most. Every choice had consequences. Every step could be your last. And every moment of peace was borrowed. If you're skating, playing music, even hanging with friends, they could all vanish in an instant. And on that day, in the parking lot, borrowed peace ended brutally, leaving behind only a story and a warning for anyone who thinks they could find freedom in a city that just doesn't forgive. See, his death sent shockwaves through the whole city. You had friends and family, they cried. Rivals recalculated, and the streets sent a clear message. Life is borrowed, and danger follows you everywhere. The streets own you from the moment you pick up a gun. Even the one place you might think could be safe, the skating rink, a parking lot, a stage, can become the backdrop of your end. Shorty Pop's story is a reminder that the streets don't do timeouts. They never forgive, they never wait. And being in the middle of a war only makes every moment more dangerous. He lived by the code and died by it. Music and skating gave him fleeting peace. But the streets dictate the rules, and those rules are harsh. See, hearing the story about Shorty Pop tells you everything you need to know. That he can't go anywhere without a bulletproof vest or a gun. Like, who wants to live like that? Who wants to be walking around with a gun on him all the time? And a bulletproof vest, that has to be the most uncomfortable thing in the world. And another thing, it tells us how he was living. If a dude riding around with an AK-47 and he want to empty the clip on you, that pretty much tells us how he was moving. Like, for a shooter to come at you with an AK-47, fully prepared like he was going through a war. Like, he couldn't bring a regular handgun. He had to bring an AK-47, man, because he probably just knew how he was moving. Now, Shorty Pop's death in that parking lot wasn't just another street killing. It was the final chapter in a life defined by survival, risk, and the unforgiving logic of the streets. He lived hard, he fought harder. He died the way he lived, brave, feared, and never backing down. The streets claimed him, as they always do. But his story remains a brutal truth. There are no timeouts in the streets. And peace is only ever borrowed. Skating, music, moments of joy, they could be stolen in a heartbeat. And that's the reality Shorty Pop knew better than anyone. Now, don't forget, man, if you want to know the story of Shorty Pop, go to my playlist. I have his full story. Get the likes up, hop in the comments. Don't forget to tune in to the playlist. Y'all have a good weekend. Y'all take it easy. I'm out.